Predictably, a prostitute city which distorts lives with money has an appetite for escorts, however trafficked. By contrast, Tyler and Ball destroyed Sir William's brothels, so the city pimp's income from sex slaves was thwarted. One historian commented on the rebels burning the brothels on their way to London Bridge to cross the Thames. When Walworth saw so fruitful a source of income destroyed, his wrath must have risen higher than the flames. In Fagin's account, in 9 Days That Shook England, the brothel burning turned Walworth into an even more implacable enemy of the Revolution. To the rebels, he was just the worst man on earth. He had feathered his nest by exploiting human weakness, and in treating women as chattels, whom he locked up in cages with beds in the squalid stews of Bankside, and he paid them for the privilege with the pox. Undeterred, the city erects a statue to this knife-wielding brothel-keeper, to keep statues of colonial merchants and their military company. Yet, were it to commemorate Tyler and Ball, two militant utopians, it might make a start in transforming its morality. Just as there is a wall of the communards in Paris, in the Père Lachaise cemetery, room could be made on the route of Wat Tyler's march for the memory of a deceived peasantry. But as if the city's keen to hide its low intentions in plain sight, devouring dragons guard its borders, north, south, east, and west, forgetting that those in history who kill life-threatening beasts and make the powerful powerless are praised the most. Words are things, Byron wrote, and a small drop of ink, falling like dew upon a thought, produces that which makes thousands, perhaps millions, think. To Tom Paine, writing in The Rights of Man, 1791, Wat Tyler was an intrepid, disinterested man. In other words, he was incorruptible, and the Norfolk father of the U.S. Constitution declared himself a fan. Paine added that all Tyler's proposals that were made to King Richard were on a more just and more public ground than those which had been made to King John by the barons, a king who was notoriously unsound. So that, if the barons, Paine pointed out, merited a monument to be erected at Runnymede, Tyler merits one in Smithfield. Sadly, as yet, no one's felt the need. But in 1794, Robert Southey, Coleridge's writing partner, with whom Southey planned an ideal community, wrote a poem to mark the place in Smithfield where Tyler was killed for trying to widen man's opportunity. This is the place where England's injured sons rebelled against their sovereign, for they found his yoke was grievous. Pass not lightly on. This is a place that may well invite thy mind to serious musings. Monarchs here may learn, if they oppress their people, if they waste their blood, and rob from the poor labourer his hard-earned mite, that there may come a day of vengeance. Wat Tyler's firebrand speeches and John Ball's utopian dreams fueled leveller and digger and Chartist revolutions, which Engels, Marx's comrade-in-arms, noted were about overthrowing the whole English constitution. The Chartist movement was urged to remember Tyler with rousing rhymes. Many kindred spirits still survive to raise for coming glory, till not a Briton but will strive to profit by his story. Despite his head ending up on a pole on London Bridge, Wat Tyler's tongue still cuts across centuries, inspiring captive spirits who relish his forthright appeal for the opening up of all penitentiaries. Tyler sacrificed his own life to free the serfs and to give 2 fingers to Norman yokery. He can still counteract reactionary historians, stale Tories who glorify imperial tyranny. For, as Southey wrote, he was one gifted with a strong energy of mind, quick to perceive the right and prompt to act when justice needed, his zeal unconfined. Thanks to Tyler, English labourers showed their opposition by bravely raising their own people's banners, knowing that by this one act they'd then be thought traitors, but they despised a treacherous king's manners. Thanks to the peasants' revolt, a feudal absolutism was eroded by popular visionaries who fought the totalitarian power of money and undermined its sordid tyranny. A financial fundamentalism insists that money measures every single last scrap of the life force, while it threatens and shortens people's lives, and long, long ago should have been stifled at source. Clement Attlee once lamented, "Over and over again we have seen that there is in this country another power than that which has its seat at Westminster," by which he meant the city dragon, looking for things it can devour. When whatever makes money is good is a principle, then nothing whatever can be bad, even if city investments risk man's total destruction. So what, if the interest makes bankers glad? The city's chillingly named Geiger Counter-Investment Trust buys and sells uranium. Forget Chernobyl and Fukushima. When money's at stake, humanity's quite secondary. It's even alien. One corporation, whom the city's dragon protects, bankrolls those dealing in Malaysian wood, those who devastate rainforests to plant palm oil, the main ingredient of processed food. Heart disease is accelerated, and man's engaging cousin, the orangutan, is driven from its habitat. To make way for a cooking fat, ancient lands are slashed and burned, and even breathable air is under attack. The bank in question is HSBC, housed in the city among the forest of concrete towers, stuffed with money-makers in their malignant pinnacles, which, unlike green trees that soar, just lower. Inside them, the dagger that killed Wat Tyler is still wielded, but this time it's by finance's cold, dead hand. Through its stocks and its shares and its dividends and its bonds, the dagger's plunged into the world's green and pleasant land. Daily, the city gambles on the price of fossil fuels. Daily, it promotes their consumption. Daily, the side effects from their incineration deaden the world's seas by acidification. The most successful investors are still betting on fossil fuels, insists a louche lout in a city wine bar, whose gold credit cards are backed up by seabirds in oil slick and babies breathing exhaust fumes from his car. The ancient Babylonians used to call gold the shit of hell, and the city's filled with its embodiment, the living shits who inflate the cost of living and seek a vacuous status from brand names, smart addresses, and designer glitz, who struttingly say, "I'm much too special and far too rich to play a full part in the community. I've no wish to share my wealth, thank you very much, and I've an accountant to secure my superiority." The city mindset is identical to that of Steve Wynn, casino billionaire. Guys like me are job creators, and we don't like having a bullseye painted on our backs. The contrast between 24 million going hungry per day and Wynn's annual income of 4 billion is a provocative fact, which leads you to think that capitalism is a license to kill by stealth, through financial stress causing illness and suicide, while at the same time the peace of mind of all those with wealth should be undisturbed and the rule of money preside.